Jaguar Park Drive, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27606, where Pastor Anthony Midland presides. And now, Foundation of the Truth.
All right, we bless the Lord today. Glad to come before you here today. And we're going to get right into it. Thank God we made it on time today for a change.
Yes.
So we got some heavy doctrine. We're going to, up to this point, where matter of fact, all of them have been kind of heavy somewhat, but this is where, you have to do what you call to do, like we always say. Whatever your ministry is or whatever you call to do, but this particular work that the Lord got cut out for us to do, we must do. So it'll be well with us.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So back some years back when I first got into it, I was, just thinking that a lot of times till you get kind of stable in what you call to do, you're thinking everybody's supposed to see this, and you're going around trying to check and say, man, why people can't see this, So we went through that, that's back in my 20s. So then we finally calmed down and said, well, yes, it ain't, everybody can't see this, but the Lord have let us see it. So the thing is, so we must be, like you said, what we said the last couple of weeks, we got to be found faithful. And we can't be worried about who ain't receiving it. We ain't worried about that. We really leave that up to the Lord, because He said He is the one who's going to give the increase. And there's no way, I think we've been saying this over a period of time. I think this is in the Gospel of John. He said a man can receive nothing except to be given him from heaven. And that statement is true for everything.
Absolutely.
You can't see this thing except to be given. If it ain't given, just like the Lord told the Apostle Peter, he was instructing him into the kingdom. So when he was the only one that answered amongst the disciples, he was the only one that gave the answer. He said, who the men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And he said, you are the Christ, Son of the living God. So then the Lord told him very frankly that flesh and blood have not revealed it unto you. So don't think you ain't went somewhere. That's like we always tell people. We ain't went somewhere in the corner and figured this out. Ain't nowhere in the world. So last week we get ready to dive into this and see how much we're gonna cover today. But here's where the work comes in. As far as you got to go in here, one thing you got to get familiar with what the passage is and all that, and then you got to wait on the Lord. That could be a period of time, years, before the Lord will start expounding on stuff.
Yes,
So, and that's what we tell people. You ain't going to just read something. You ain't going to go to no theology school and think you're going to come out after 4 years and think you know everything about this. Don't work that way. As a matter of fact, that's what we say, even the disciples, when he was instructing them into the kingdom, and a lot of things did not come to light until after he had rose again. So, even when he kept telling them that the Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of sinners, be crucified, the third day rising, it said the saying was hid. So that tells me when it comes down to these scriptures, this stuff is hid until the Lord get ready to break it down. And then when he break it down, say, oh man, that's what that means. So that's why he said, when the Spirit of truth is come, he will lead you and guide you into all truth. He should not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear. And I can show you that in Numbers. We'll go through that another day. But that, I tell you what, it's so detailed and it's clear. But, those who've been listening, matter of fact, we're coming up on a year. We've been here about a year at the end of this month, I believe. I think we got here at the end of June last year, right before July came in. So we're thankful to be able to come before you, like I said. But we at the same time, when it come down to this, it's whosoever has ears to hear. That's how the Lord came off. That's how we gonna say it.
There you go.
I've seen time we could be addressing certain audiences, their ears ain't even open. And the Lord is dealing with somebody way over in the corner. I mean, we don't witness this, so a lot of times we targeting certain people. And the Lord ain't even dealing with them. He's dealing with somebody else.
Absolutely.
So that, that just shows that we just leave that alone. And we just do what we call it. So last week, and I think we kind of touched on some of this last year coming in before the year came out. But this right here, you got to dig. Like we've been saying, you got to dig, but then you must rely on the Lord to break it down. But the Lord, God's got His timing about everything. So last week we had said that the prophecy, we're gonna come out of Isaiah 47 today. We're gonna come out of, Lord said the same. We're gonna come out of Jeremiah 50 and 51. And this is a detail. Now this will kind of give you some heads up on something, because the 2 chapters in Jeremiah 50 and 51 go with Isaiah 47, and the Apostle John in Revelation he expounded on what Isaiah 47 is talking about. So this ain't talking about the Catholic Church. It's not talking about Saudi Arabia. There's some stuff, people are just throwing stuff out there in the arena and just, well, this is my take on this. It ain't but one take to be taken.
Amen.
Take one from the Lord,
That's it.
That's what I'm saying. And a lot of times when we get closer to, the event, the Lord, first of all, when He said that this gospel of the kingdom must first be preached among all nations, and then the end's going to come. So this is where we're at right now as far as the events, because the Lord is going to make sure the truth is going to be put out. Now, I ain't got nothing to do with California, because I ain't over there. I ain't got nothing to do with overseas. God got that under control. I ain't in Florida. I ain't in New York.
Exactly.
I ain't in the Midwest. I ain't nowhere. We right here in North Carolina.
That's it.
Down here in Lewisburg. Right, so I ain't, God got that under control. We're gonna be we out here in North Carolina. So and that's where we're gonna be until the Lord says something else.
Yes, sir.
So we're working with this area down here. We're still waiting on Warren County. We're still waiting on Warren County. All right, so we're gonna get into this, because we got about a good 45, 50 minutes to deal
Yes,
with.
sir.
All right, so first of all, we're gonna say, all right, when you look at these passages, this right here, because the end of Jeremiah 51 will tell you this Babylon that's going to be taken down is going to be without inhabitants. And that's what he prophesied about. Matter of fact, the Apostle John picked up on it because, let's see if I can get this. This is at the end of Jeremiah 51. So he says, Jeremiah said to Sariah, when thou comest to Babylon, you shall see and shall read all these words. This is in we're just kind of showing you that this Babylon that's prophesied about is not talking about the Babylon in Daniel's day, because the Babylon in Daniel's day was not desolate. But this one, and so this goes with Revelations as well as some other prophets. But he said, Jeremiah 3, he said, then shall thou say, O Lord, thou hast spoken against this place to cut it off, that none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast, but that it shall be desolate forever. All right, so reason why I had to start there, because that will tell you right off the bat that if this was talking about, we're going to show you that you're going to rule this out. We're going to show you, because if this was talking about the Babylon when he told that Nebuchadnezzar was going to be taken, his son was taken over, their kingdom was taken over. It was not laid desolate. The kingdom was taken over by Darius the Mede. All right, so that would tell you that this is a deeper prophecy. So, and that wasn't fulfilled, because that Babylon that was taken over when Nebuchadnezzar's son Belshazzar was slain that night, and this is in Daniel. I think it's around 3rd or 4th chapter, somewhere around there. So he was slain, or it might be the 5th chapter. I'm sorry, the 5th chapter of Daniel. So Belshazzar, Nebuchadnezzar's son, was slain, and the kingdom was taken over by Darius the Mede. So this prophecy in Jeremiah is just telling you that this is deeper, and that's what we're telling people. So we get ready to get into it now. This, we've been kind of working all last year and up there, but we're getting ready to get into it now, because the Lord want to make sure those people are being instructed. And I ain't got, if you don't believe it, that's on, I ain't got nothing to do with that either.
Right.
We just pray that the Lord will open your understanding. And like back there in the Gospels, when it said, when the Father, he says, Lord, help my help my unbelief. So that's where we'll leave that at that. Because this right here is hard to swallow. But we're showing you, reason why I had to start right there. That's Jeremiah 51. Those who follow us, Jeremiah 51, and he's telling them right. And this is picked up in Revelation, because he said the angel took a stone and cast it into the sea, and that's when he says, "Thus shall Babylon be thrown down and shall not be heard anymore." So this Babylon that the Apostle John is talking about, Jeremiah and Isaiah. It's not talking about the Daniel's Babylon. That's what we want to make sure. So that you might as well rule that out, because the land was not laid desolate, because it was inhabited after Belshazzar died. Darius the Mede took over, and then after that you had the Greek kingdoms and the Roman empires and everything that took possession of the kingdom. So that was not laid desolate. All right, but this one, the one what he's talking about here, because he says that's in 63, Jeremiah 51, 63. It should be when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind a stone to it and cast it into the midst of the Euphrates. Thou shalt say, "Thus shall Babylon sink, and shall not rise from the evil that I will bring upon her, and they shall be wearied." Thus far the words of Jeremiah. So that's in Jeremiah 51 and verse 62, 3 and 4. Now we're going to go back what we had picked up last week. Now, so we rule that out. So the Apostle John expounded on that. That's in Revelations, I believe, 18 or so, around there. Now, here's where we got to go to work at. So we're going back to Jeremiah 51. And this ain't a hoop and holler message. We just tell you. Sometimes we get on here exhorting, but this is more or less instructing, because if you hooping and hollering, you ain't gonna be listening attentively. You ain't gonna be listening. So this is not one of them. Sometimes we come exhorting and things like that. But this one here is just, you might have to sit tight. You might, if you're in your car, you ain't got time. You might not be able to catch it, because you might be distracted by whatever's going on outside when you're driving.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're coming back to Jeremiah 51 and starting at verse 13, where we left off last week. All right, what do you say?
Verse 13. O thou art, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of that covetousness. Right.
All right, here we go. So now, when we told you last week, Revelations came out, I believe it's 17. All right, so when the angel told John, he said, "We're going to show you the great whore that's set upon many waters." All right, so then he told them what those waters represented. And those represent multitudes, peoples, and nations, and tongues. Yep. Now it's time to start. We got to go to work here. You look at this, examine these scriptures. Now, all right, so when you go to, we're going to jump back a little bit. Let's see, trying to see where's a good starting place here, because this is, I'll tell you. All right, 15. Let's see. All right. Okay, look, we're going to show you. All right, so that's what we've been telling you all along. Now, when it comes down to this is definitely one of those passages where the Lord is not going to come out and tell you directly. And this is where, when you search out the scriptures, and then when you really study what's going on here in the earth. All right, so he said. So the prophecy was, though you dwell upon many waters, yet your end is come. And now if you look at the nations, or what's going on in the nations and things. Now, line this up. Now if you look at, you notice in the last century or so, how everybody is migrating right over here to the U.S.
Yep.
It's hard for people to swallow. Look, ain't nobody going to Russia. Everybody trying to get out of Russia. They ain't going to Saudi Arabia. Right? They ain't going to Iran. See, and that's why I say, so let's examine this. This might be hard, like I say, people might be turned off from the get-go, but we got the line to see one thing about the Lord. The Lord is not partial to any nation.
Right.
And if it's wickedness going on, which it is in this country right here, and it's being tolerated, there's abominations that's being tolerated in this country, and then people are still, you got these false evangelists and TV evangelists and false prophets and everything else.
Come on.
Talking about God blessing. Ain't going to happen. Not this one. Not this God. What we done seen, if those you've been studying, you got to look at this. If God say he's a consuming fire, and he don't put up with iniquity, then that's what he meant.
Exactly.
All right, so there's no way, that's mass deception going on. If you're thinking God's going to overlook this stuff, what it is building up. And that's prophesied.
Yes.
All right, so he said, now, so the great whore in Revelation 17 that was sitting upon many waters, dwelling upon many waters, this is the same prophecy. So you got to line this up, Jeremiah 51, verse 13. All right, so the waters is talking about nations. So you'll see, you don't see all nationalities going to North Korea. You don't see all nationalities going to Iran.
Only here.
They ain't progressive, what you call it, the UK and all that. You don't see this going on.
Yep.
Everybody, matter of fact, everybody's migrating right because this is prophecy. This is prophecy. And so, matter of fact, we're going to find that because it's in Jeremiah 50 when he says, let's see if we can get this. All right, let's first of all, we're going to go ahead and show you some of the judgments that the Lord is saying. And so then when you examine this out, then you're going to see it's okay. Then you got to line it up. But then, see, here's the thing, and just like the Lord would tell some of the prophets back there in Isaiah in them days, when, see, judgment will be perverted, because if you are partial and all this stuff, then you're going to be, your judgment is not going to be sound as far as, because the Lord, when it come down, when he bring a judgment, is not partial to anybody or any nation. Right? So, but if you're going in, if you're already partial, let's say just because you live in America, then you see a lot of this TV evangelists. Ain't nobody speaking against America. Everybody else is evil but America. Yeah, I mean, people, you got to look at what it is.
It's the truth.
Everybody, every other country is saying that's mass deception going on.
Big time.
And that's what we say. So, all right. So,
Yes, it is.
all right. Let me see how it was a good start. Okay, so now notice what he says. We're gonna go down and we're gonna stick up over to Jeremiah 50. Let's see. We might start at verse 9. So we're gonna start at Jeremiah 50, verse 9. Notice what the judgment that's coming.
Oh, yes, sir.
Let's see. Okay. All right. So we'll start at verse 9. We're going to show you what the judgment start, bring the judgments on this. All right, we're going to start at verse 8. Watch it. What do you say?
Remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flocks. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. For then she shall be taken. Then arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain.
All right, hold on right there. Now we really got to go to work now.
Man, yes.
This right here, those you when you're looking at this is Jeremiah. Those you following in Jeremiah 50, verse 9. It's not. See, the country is not. We're going to tell you like this. This country not going to be taken down by one nation. It's going to be an assembly of nations that's going to come against this country.
Oh, yeah.
And if people can't see that, they don't want to see it.
They don't see it.
They don't want to see it. Look, you got the people are preparing. Look, you got Kim Jong-un, the guy, North Korea. You got these guys ain't taking heed, ain't listening to whatever these, whatever these covenants they try to sit down and have peace talks and all that stuff. These people ain't listening to that stuff. Look, Iran done told the leader of Iran done told you, say, as long as you stay out of our business, we good.
Right.
See, everybody, this is prophecy. And so what we mean by that, so the Lord's words is going to be fulfilled. He's going to be fulfilled. So you'll see that what you call now. See, here's where the big deception comes in at, because those that dwell in America are looking at other nations as everybody else is evil. You don't want our way of life, but you see that's a deception right there.
Big Big time.
That is a big deception right there.
Yes, sir.
All right, so he said. So this is prophecy. We're gonna tell you prophecy is going to unfold. I don't care who's in the White House. It don't matter. All right. So he says right there. Now, when he come down, let's bring this home because he says, verse 9 is talking about. All right. He said, they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as a mighty expert man, and that's nothing but telling you, but guided missile crew. That's exactly what this is talking about.
Wow.
You got to bring this stuff. You got to bring the God. Got to bring a might. That means when they started doing what do you call it? Strategic. When they got into warfare like that, when they got into the guided missile systems, now this stuff is accurate.
On point.
And see, so note if you look at the scene of how they what you call the so to speak, not the superpower nations are coming up. Look, people ain't trying to look. People, especially over here, people are so distracted. It's not even funny.
Amen.
Oh, I ain't worried about this stuff. You better be worried about look. This right here is prophecy. So when this stuff, that's why he said the Lord said the day of the Lord is gonna hit, and it's gonna hit like a thief.
Yes,
But the saints, he said, that day you should not be overtaken as a thief. Those that are alive from the dead.
Yes, sir.
That's what Thessalonians saying. So this is why the Lord has got his servants dispatched in the different areas in the world. Look, the truth is going to be put out. All right. So this is once they started doing that guided missile system. Once they got that stuff in play, and that's exactly what this is saying when he said their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. See, you got all this stuff that's the missiles that you got in there. All this guided system is in there. So when they target, they program that thing, and it's going to hit its target. Wherever see, and so look at Iran. All these countries, look, Russia, and all this stuff is because he said the Assembly of Nations is the Medes, it's the Persians, and the Assembly of Nations is going to come up against this country. This is hard talk. No, this ain't one of the hoop and holler messages. This is hard. This might be tough to swallow.
It's real.
It's real. It's real. So what the thing is, see, and this ain't popular either. Look, because it's always, just like it's always been in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, he said there were false teachers among them, even as there should be false teachers among even now. So you got to, so the people want to hear that stuff. That's what you call soothsayers. No, it's all in the scriptures. They're going to tell you what you want to hear.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you flocking to that stuff. Balcony is overflowing. Look, it's almost like an arena. You sitting there applauding. They're sitting there clapping, man. This ain't a clapping message.
Oh, this is real right here.
Matter of fact, the truth of the gospel ain't.
Yes.
Man, this stuff, he said, look, we always go to the book of James when he said, be afflicted and mourn. That's what the Lord said.
Yes, he did.
Didn't he say?
Yes, he
Be
did.
afflicted and mourn and weep, he said, and he said, let your laughter be turned into what? Mourning. Why did he say that? See, look, we in the Bible now. I know those of you following us, we got about 35 minutes to deal with. I'm going to see how much we're going to get counted on this. All right, so, all right. We're going to go to a prophecy, and we're going to line this up with Isaiah 47. I'm going to go to Apostle John. Well, we're going to read something here. This is verse... let's see. All right. So, okay, it says, verse 12 says, what did it say in verse 12? What's it say?
Your mother shall be sore confronted, so that she shall, she that bear you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nation shall be a wilderness, a dry land, as a desert.
All right. Now, so you notice what he said. All right. So this country was burnt, and so notice what how they word this. The hindermost. This right here is the last nation to come up. Nobody can argue with me about that. This of all the existing nations and things that were existing, this is the last nation to be birthed. So that's why he said it's the hindermost of nations. Wow. Look, this is heavy. It's heavy. Look, you might get a pin. You might be able to hear a pin drop nowadays.
Oh.
Look, but this ain't no hooping and hollering message. This where the Lord. One thing about the Lord is intention for His people to be instructed. That way you won't be thrown off when this stuff started here. We're not supposed to be going around shaking like the world, because the nations are lost. If you know what's going on, then you ain't supposed to be shaken by what's going to happen. One little thing come out, the government come out with something, everybody shaking. Christians. You're being dictated by what the government. This government is corrupt.
Amen.
I mean, I'm like, they're sitting there trying to. We ain't got to talk about that, but so he's saying right here in verse 12, the hindermost of nations, and this is the last nation. Nobody can argue about it. This was birthed around in the 1700s, as far as it been, Declaration and all this stuff. 1700. This is the last nation to come up. This is it. It's the hindermost of nations. But he said it's going to be a wilderness and a dry land and a desert. So this wasn't talking about, like we just said when we started, this wasn't talking about the Babylon in Daniel's day, because that was not laid desolate. He said it won't be inhabited forever. That didn't happen. Darius took over when Belshazzar was slain at night. He took over, and then after the Medes and things, Persian came. You had some other Persian kings that came and took over. And then Greece came behind that. So that land was occupied. The land was occupied, so it wasn't desolate. So this prophecy is not pertaining to Daniel's Babylon. So we don't rule that out. All right. So we show you. See, the Lord. One thing about it, like we said last week. So this stuff is in parables. It's in proverbs. It's in riddles. And the Lord have got it written that He intentionally put it that way, and it's designed because if you ain't really looking for the Lord, trust me on that, you won't find it. You will not find it. If you ain't looking for, you're not going to stumble upon the truth. That's why we always tell people the truth. You got to be sought. You got to search this thing out and search it out and keep searching. The Lord will bring. We're a witness of that. The Lord will bring understanding, showing up.
Amen.
So so the Lord is going to back up what He say when He said He is a rewarder of those that diligently seek Him. So if you're looking for the Lord, but the way He got this written up, if you're gonna look at this surface, that's as far as you go. You ain't gonna get no pay. You're not gonna get past the parables.
That's it.
That's as far as you're gonna go. You're gonna stay surface with it. That's as far as you're going. And so what we tell people, that's the way you're gonna look at it, don't even waste your time. And we're gonna tell you like it is.
There you go.
Don't even waste your time.
There you
Because
go.
he said appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. That's what the Lord said when He come back and get ready to do the deciphering. That's exactly what's gonna happen. But sometimes people just rationalize and think something's going to be worked out. Look, we can con each other.
Amen.
And all that and feel sorry for each other and be empathizing and all that stuff. But when the Lord said His visage is going to change, we haven't seen that. We done seen God bring judgments, yes. But you have not seen God's visage change and be full of fury. We ain't seen that. Nobody can say that they ain't seen that. We done seen God put some judgments, but we have not seen His whole visage change. We ain't seen that because it ain't happened yet.
His wrath.
Matter of fact, do you want to see it? No. That's why He told John the Baptizer told the Pharisees. He said, "Who have warned you to flee from the wrath to come?" And that's what we saying. Look, this ain't gonna be no joke.
Wow.
When the Lord's visage changed, He said it's not going to be set until it's done. That's the way that's where it's going to be. Until when everything is done, what He done prophesied through His prophet, through the mouth of His prophets. When everything is done, then it's going to be settled. But see, all it's done, and see, this is why people don't get it. They just think, well, ain't nothing happened because it's building up. It's building up. He said, when He said the sins have reached unto heaven,
Yes, sir.
and it's getting ready to be, that's where His visage is getting ready to change. He said, then was the king full of fury. All right. We're trying to get this. Let me see here. So we're gonna go to those of you following us. This is almost like a eulogy.
It's real talk today. It's real talk.
Look, but see, look, this is what we're saying. See, one thing about the Lord and the Word is not always happy and all jumping. It ain't always like that. This right here, if you know what this stuff is prophesying about, this stuff will have you, whoa, yeah, that's exactly the way this is meant, because this is a taking down, a detailed breakdown of this nation. The Babylon that the Lord, the mystery of Babylon that he's talking about in Revelation. All right, so let's get Isaiah. We're going to show you where the Apostle John picked up on what Isaiah said. Notice what this said. This is Isaiah. See, the Lord, he's that orderly where he done spoke to all his prophets. And so what anybody that comes along now, any of the servants of the Lord come along now, we must examine this and let the Lord break down what he originally prophesied through the mouth of his prophets. So we got to get the message. It's like, whoa, man. It's like, all right, so Isaiah 47, we got about a good 25, 30 minutes to deal with. Those of you following us, Isaiah 47, watch what he said. And this, the Apostle John picked up on it as he expounded where prophet Isaiah left it. What's what he said? What did he say?
Verse 1.
Verse 1.
Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon.
All right, notice what he said. Notice what he said. So Babylon has a daughter. So that's what somebody. So the Babylon. So that's why he said your mother should be so confounded. That's what Jeremiah said. So the virgin daughter of Babylon. That's what's going to be taken down. The virgin daughter of Babylon. See, Babylon has a daughter.
Jesus.
See, and that's the one that's going to be taken down. All right.
Wow.
Now, what did he say? What did he say?
Sit on the ground.
Sit on the ground, and then what?
There is no throne.
Look at this. What did he say?
O daughter of the Chaldeans,
Right?
for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate.
You see that? Say, look, notice. If you listen, though, this is a sobering message today. I pray those that are taking this in. But notice what even the government was saying, even when Trump was in office. Let's make America great again. It ain't gonna happen. We can tell you right now. Look, the Lord said we can tell you right now. I can tell you because this prophecy right here, He's telling you. He said, what did he say right there? Thou shalt no more be called what? Tender and what?
Delicate.
All right. If the Lord said, that's what he meant. So I don't care how much you try to attempt to make it, it's not going to happen. We're going to tell you right like it is.
I will.
We're going to tell you like it is. Then what he said? What else he said?
Take the millstones,
Right.
and grind meal.
Right.
Uncover thy locks.
See. So that means, so when it's somebody uncovered, that means the judgments, everything that's been going on is being revealed. And people don't want to look at this for what it is. So the iniquities that's going on in this country is being exposed.
Wow.
And the country is overseas, and that's what they get ready to get built up.
Oh boy.
See, he said, uncover the locks. Anytime you're covering the shame of your nakedness, is getting ready to be exposed.